Magomed Ankalaev says negotiations for a rematch with Alex Pereira have already started, and he's agreed to it. Ankalaev said the negotiations are ongoing. At the moment, I don't know who will be next for me, but we agreed instantly. If they want a rematch, we are ready. In the same interview, Ankalaev said that the first person he called after UFC 313 was his mother. He continued, "My first call, as you can guess, was to my mother, to show my face so she wouldn't worry. Because she doesn't watch my fights, she worries a lot, so my first call is always to my mother." Jiri Prochazka has fired back at Magomed Ankalaev, calling him a fraud. Following Ankalaev's win over Alex Pereira, Jiri said, "Congrats to Magomed. Beautiful pressure. Most of people don't like it, but you won the title for now." Magomed responded saying, "I think you are a fraud, and so many guys deserve it more than you. You need to go win some fights." He followed up with, "This guy is a terrible fighter." Jiri made an appearance on the Ariel Helwani show yesterday and responded to Ankalaev saying, "He doesn't know me. I don't know him personally. One thing that I can say to Ankalaev, he can think whatever he wants. But I know that the only person who is a fraud is him, because when I met him at the UFC Performance Institute in Las Vegas, he was there, very nice, friendly. Hello, nice to meet you. All good. And right now he's a superstar, big gangster and playing these games. Hyped, and I understand. He won the title against the worst performance of Alex Pereira's career. The only fraud here is Magomed Ankalaev. Worst fighter? Every time I'm giving everything into my fights, going to finish my opponents and to give it my all. Unlike him, when he's fighting, many times in the second or third rounds, when there's a need for a high performance, he's trying to run away. So that only means one thing. The only fraud person here is Magomed Ankalaev. I'll do whatever is necessary to catch Ankalaev." Michael Bisping and Paul Felder react to King Green's brutal knockout loss to Mauricio Rufy over the weekend. Rufy secured a victory with a highlight reel spinning wheel kick in the first round, knocking Green out cold. Green is now facing a tough stretch in his career, having lost 3 out of his last 4 fights. Bisping believes the issue ultimately stems from Green fighting with his hands down, leaving him vulnerable to such strikes.
He's lost 3 out of his last 4 now, though. I mean, he got badly beaten by Jalen Turner, who we'll talk about in a bit. He also got wheel kicked last night, well, Saturday night. What was the other one as well? Renato Moicano.
And Patty put him out bad with the choke armbar situation.
Yeah.
Pimlet. So, I mean, he's really had a really rough go. And it just shows you, man, father time, dude.
Yeah, and he's also had about 73,000 fights.
Yeah.
He's had a lot of fights. But the problem is for Bobby, listen, we love Bobby. We love the way he talks and his attitude. Hands low. You can't have your hands low like that. I mean, I love it. It's cool as hell when he's doing this. But when
not when you got a guy that can kick like that, right? Not when you got a guy that can literally kick taekwondo wheel kicks like that. You've either got to be all the way out. You can't have your foot up against the back of the cage and have no hands up to defend. You're going to get cracked with something like that. So
yeah. This is the thing as well, like geography inside the octagon is so important, as you mentioned there. If you've got your hands low, if your back's up against the fence, you can't move backwards. I know it sounds so obvious, but a lot of people that don't fight and don't understand the strategies, if you're against the fence, you've got nowhere to go. You can go left and right with your head or your body, but you can't move out the way. So yeah, if you want to be like that and you've got the fast enough feet, you've got to be in the middle of the octagon.
Alexander Volkanovski is set to face Diego Lopez for the vacant featherweight title at UFC 314 next month. Despite suffering back-to-back knockout losses to Islam Makhachev and Ilia Topuria, Volk remains confident heading into the fight, promising fans that they will see the best version of him this time around. Speaking to Engage, Volk said, "I think I could beat Diego everywhere. He's dangerous. He's going to be dangerous everywhere, so I need to sharpen up everything. Even if I want to go the wrestling route or grappling route, I think I dominate there anyway. Everyone knows him for his jiu-jitsu, but trust me, I ain't worried if it goes there. Can he handle the fact that even when things are going his way, I ain't quitting? I'm coming back even stronger. I don't even think he'll get me there, but even if he does, I think he's still going to absolutely hate being in these positions because he's going to realize I can't stop this guy. I'll show the world and him that I'm just different. UFC 314, you're going to see the Volk that you guys are used to. Trust me, he's coming back and he's getting that belt back." Kamaru Usman has high praise for Rafael Fiziev. Despite him losing to Justin Gaethje via unanimous decision at UFC 313, Usman says Fiziev's stock didn't drop whatsoever, especially due to the fact that he took the fight on such short notice, when not many other lightweights were willing to step in.
Yeah, even though if it was just for 3 rounds, Justin went out there, they went to war. Shout out to Rafael Fiziev. I mean, what a warrior. On 10 days, 12 days notice or whatever, however long it was, coming in and still putting on a fantastic performance. My hat's off to that guy. He doesn't lose anything. Nothing changes in his stock because there weren't really a lot of people lined up to fight Justin Gaethje. Yeah, they said they was, but then all of a sudden they was too heavy. All of a sudden they needed more time. All of a sudden they want a little extra check on top of it. So, it is what it is. They both guys went out and they put on a fantastic performance. This was the fight that kept the audience awake, kept them alive, and it was a star-studded crowd. They kept me awake in there. So shout out to them, Justin Gaethje, man. I'm so proud of little bro. He delivers every time. He's able to go to a place and fights right away. That it takes me, I'm being honest, it takes me some time to build into that spot, but he's able to just go there right away and live in that smoke. Amazing fight, and shout out once again to Rafael Fiziev coming in and putting in a fantastic performance. They saved that card.
Khamzat Chimaev has named Kamaru Usman as the toughest opponent of his UFC career thus far. The two faced off in October 2023, with Usman stepping in on short notice. Despite the circumstances, the fight was highly competitive, with Chimaev securing a victory via majority decision. Khamzat said probably it was Usman. He defended my wrestling very well. His wrestling is good. He defended my takedowns well. He didn't let me choke his neck. I tried to choke him for 5 minutes, but his defense was too good. So yeah, it's probably him. Demetrious Johnson has explained why a potential fight between him and TJ Dillashaw never came to fruition. At the time, Dana White was pushing for the matchup when Johnson was the flyweight champion and Dillashaw held the bantamweight title. However, Dana previously claimed that Mighty Mouse refused to fight Dillashaw.
I think that a fight between him and TJ Dillashaw would be something that people would actually be interested in. And could sell pay-per-views and could make money, but he absolutely refuses to fight the guy.
In a recent appearance on the Jackson podcast, Mighty Mouse clarified that he was in fact willing to face TJ. He explained that he requested a specific clause in TJ's contract to address the situation if TJ couldn't make weight. Unfortunately, the UFC rejected this request, which ultimately prevented the fight from happening.
We knew TJ Dillashaw could not make 125 healthy. I knew it. He's already shredded as at 135. So for him to lose 10 more pounds healthy with no help, it's impossible. I knew he couldn't make it, right? So when we threw in a contract, we said, okay, if TJ Dillashaw does not make weight at 125, we don't fight for my belt, we fight for his belt. The UFC said, no, not happening.
Wow.
And I said, I have no leverage here.
Wow.
I have no leverage whatsoever here. I mean, right now, that's why we went on a lawsuit.
Aljamain Sterling thinks a major factor that played into Alex Pereira's loss at UFC 313 is Alex fighting way too often. Alex defended his light heavyweight title 3 times in 2024, and Aljo believes he just doesn't give himself enough time to recover in between fights.
I think Magomed just had the better night, not by much, but I just think Ankalaev had a better night for sure. And a couple of factors for me, Pereira fights way too often, 3 title defenses in 7 months. That is insanity to do that. And it's not like his fights were pitter-patter fights. You could say the Jamahal Hill one was no damage. Okay, cool, I understand that. The Jiri one, he took some damage in that. And then the Khalil Roundtree fight was a big fight where he took some good shots. And then you go from that, add on to the fact that he bounces back from these fights and he goes right back into the gym almost 1, maybe 2 weeks later. You compound that with the amount of times that he's sparring. When does Pereira give himself, his body and his brain and his chin a chance to take a break and just recover? I don't think he gives himself enough time in between fights to give the best version of himself every single time. And then when you get another guy like this who stylistically is going to tie him up, who's also a southpaw. Khalil Roundtree was a southpaw, gave him some tough challenges in that fight as well. I just think it's I think he maybe should have taken a little bit more time, but either way, hats off to Ankalaev. He got it done. I just, those are a couple of things for me. I would love to see Pereira just take some time, not spar, maybe do some tech work, pad work, but I think he needs to give his head some time to recover. He's 37. There's only so many shots to the head you could keep on taking before the chin is just gone. If you don't give your body and your brain some time to recover, it gets easier and easier for those eyes to roll into the back of your head and just shut off completely. The body's just gonna be like, no, I'm good. I'm gonna protect myself. Do. That's a Microsoft reference. I'm sure you're too young to understand that one though.
Jamahal Hill strongly criticized Alex Pereira's ex-girlfriend after she publicly celebrated Alex's loss to Magomed Ankalaev. She shared a video on Instagram referring to Alex's defeat as karma. Here's what Jamahal had to say in response.
I also caught the video. A lot of people has already seen it, of the ex-girl that he was with, that he cut out of his life because she wasn't being real and things like that, coming in and try to come in and take shots. That shit lame as hell. I'm just gonna keep it real. That's like really, really lame for her to do. And just like, she like married, got married to somebody else, that whole situation and whatnot. And it's like, bro, how have you not moved on with your life from then? Like, this was like over a year ago. Like, you can really tell whoever the plus side was in a relationship, or who was really offering the other person more, giving more than they were being offered, whenever it ends and they feel a need to keep trying to use their name and drag themselves back into the situation or the view of that person. Shawty, you got to move on and let that go. That's lame.
Conor McGregor also had words for Alex's ex. Conor said, "Fugly, wash your box." If you missed our video from yesterday, Alex Pereira also responded. He said, "I think she should stop mentioning my name because her husband might get jealous. Shama." TKO executives are reportedly furious with ESPN over the streaming issues during UFC 313. Fans and fighters alike took to social media to express their frustration. Frankie Edgar revealed that he was charged twice for the event, but was still unable to watch. Chito Vera also lashed out at ESPN. According to the New York Post, sources say TKO and the UFC are quote-unquote absolutely furious over the situation. With ESPN's broadcast deal nearing its end, this incident may have further increased the likelihood of a split. Luke Thomas reacted saying ESPN has refused to improve ESPN+. The user interface is limited. The functionality issues are likely a key contributor to piracy. And what went wrong at UFC 313 is not the first time that happened. Chickens came home to roost. Now UFC has them over a barrel in negotiations. And that's going to wrap it up for the news. Thanks for watching. For daily MMA news and content, subscribe to Full Mount MMA and click the bell icon to be notified when we post videos. Here are the 3 top comments from last video. These comments are in reference to Alex Pereira's ex-girlfriend coming out and celebrating his loss to Magomed Ankalaev. The first one says, "Don't give these petty exes a platform." The second one's from Tumas Vane. It says, "I used to date this guy that one time. Crazy eyes in some random bar during Ankalaev versus Pereira 2. And the final one's from Griffin. It says, "That woman is a demon if I've ever seen one." Those were the 3 top comments from last video. If you want to be featured in the next one, all you have to do is comment down below. And if you missed yesterday's news, click the video on screen right now to get caught up.